Absolutely thrilled to welcome Robert Duncan and Ali Bastian to BBC Radio Derby. Thank you for coming in.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yes,
Very excited when I heard you two were coming in today. One TV series is particularly responsible for that, which we'll come to in a moment, Robert. I know you know where I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I wonder. Ali, interestingly, earlier on we had a piece about ballroom dancing.
Oh, did you?
Completely by accident, I mean, but do you still do that?
I do, actually. You know, I totally got the bug for it. I absolutely love it. Haven't been doing it much the last few months because I've been touring with Verdict, which opened last night. But yeah, I go for classes at Karen Hardy's studio in Chelsea whenever I'm back in London. She's got lovely studios there.
So who do you dance with now?
I've got a partner called Ian, who's lovely, fantastic teacher, good name, good guy.
and people might also know you from The Bill.
Yeah.
And a very naughty teacher in Hollyoaks, I gather. I never saw you there as Becca.
Yeah.
Got locked up for how naughty you were.
I know, I went down, but then sort of got reborn on the Bill, the other side of the law, so that was better.
So how does touring and treading the boards, for want of a lack of a cliche, in Agatha Christie compare with doing TV work?
Oh God, we're having a really great time with this, actually. We've got a fantastic company, been all over the country. Had a wonderful audience last night, lovely full house. And there's just nothing really that compares to performing in front of a live audience. Just feels amazing, fantastic. They were great last night.
Yeah. Robert's nodding in approval here, yeah. Yes. You're enjoying being on the stage as well.
Well, I have to say, I've done quite a lot of it, but this is rather a sweet tour because the company is so nice. I mean, the company is great. I'm surrounded by women, and I always think that's an important part.
Can't get him out of our dressing rooms.
I love it.
Let's talk Drop the Dead Donkey. I've got to do it because I was very excited when they said you were coming in because I was just such a fan of that. You must hear that a lot still to this day. And it's been a long time, I know.
Yeah, 1998 was the last episode.
Robert was Gus, by the way, in case you don't know.
Yes,
Gus Hedges.
Yes. There's still some Gusisms on the internet, apparently. Are you cooking with napalm and stuff like that? But I mean, no, it's very fond memories. Yeah. It's nice that I still get to work with people like, one of the Andy Hamilton.
You do some of his radio comedies, don't you? You do
Old
Harry's Game.
Yeah. They're hoping to make that into... we've done the pilot for an animated version.
Wow.
Which is it's great seeing your character as portrayed by the voice suddenly on the screen. And so fingers crossed that'll be taken up. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how did that come about? Is that literally a case of Andy Hamilton became a friend, or he loved what you did in Drop the Dead Donkey?
No. We would like to see. I mean, we all meet up now and again. We have little sharabangs now to get, the whole cast. And we're trying to make it a regular sort of get-together at Christmas. Hayden came, Hayden Gwynn. Everybody was in the show came. We had a nice little...
It would still work as a show, wouldn't it?
Well, yes. I mean, I think so. There's never not enough stories out there to have a go at. But I don't know. Andy and Guy Jenkins created this monster, and so they thought they could destroy it, which is, I think, we probably went out at the right time.
Okay. Look, I'm going to play a song, and then we need to talk. I've got that out of my system. I've got the Strictly thing out of my system, although, we may come back to it. I can't guarantee we won't. But let's talk specifically about why you're in town at the moment, which is Agatha Christie's Verdict at the Derby Theatre this week. We'll play Jennifer Page for Page. BBC Radio Derby, Tuesday afternoon. Ian Sky here, and still in the company of Robert Duncan and Ali Bastian. I said I'd come back to Strictly Come Dancing. I just want to mention... No, it's all... I don't want to pry too deeply, but you were... I think probably a trailblazer in terms of the whole, romancing the dancing partner thing, weren't you? Do you feel a heavy sense of responsibility now we hear of these fakes happening and things like that?
Of the what's happening?
Oh, wasn't last series, didn't somebody, or was it in one of the other shows? They were saying that they were an item and then it turned out they weren't, but they thought it would get them some publicity.
I didn't hear that, actually. Yeah. I'm not surprised it happens, though, because you work so intensely together and you do, everybody really bonds and...
Well, that hasn't happened with us.
It hasn't.
God. Give it time. The tour's still going. You're no stranger to ballroom dancing, if I read your profile correctly, either, Robert.
My mother was a...
Oh, it's listed as among your talents, shall we say?
Can you pour it down? Do you think keeping that
My
secret.
mother taught me when I was mum and dad used to come dancing
Come on, Rob,
religiously.
show us your snake hit.
There you go. There's a ready-made partner there for you.
Yes,
At the after show.
I've just lost all my confidence. It's just,
Sorry to bring that up.
No, I do love dancing. I do love dancing. But no,
There's
I'm
a
not
track, isn't there, that if we one of your mates told us if we put it on, you might do a little a special
yeah, well,
little
that's
dance.
really?
another part of my
Do share.
dark life, which no one is supposed to visit.
Sorry,
You can tell you're having a ball on this
yes,
production.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Let's talk about it then. It's Verdict, which is Agatha Christie. I mean, it's not a work I know. Is it pure out and out classic Christie?
Well, it's not like the usual genre of her work. I mean, it's not so much a whodunit as why did they do it? Because I shouldn't say too much, but it goes away from the usual plot-driven structure into one which is more character-driven. And towards the end of her life, Agatha was more interested in relationships, and the peculiar, it's very interesting. This particular play was written as a play, which was unusual to begin with for Agatha. It was mostly based on her short stories that then became plays. And it was the last thing she ever did. She tidied up the other stuff. And it mirrored the kind of strange menage a trois that was going on in her own life, i.e., amongst two. Yes, thank you. But this is a very cultural.
Thank you, Del Boy.
Sorry, that was brilliant. I just lowered the tone then.
No.
And you were doing so well.
No,
I'm really sorry.
I'm about to fall in my own pit. No, the fact that Max, her husband, sort of employed this lady, he was an archaeologist, and that lady, that younger person, ended up marrying Max when Agatha died. So it was a kind of prophetic
And this is the kind of premise that's mirrored in Verdict, isn't it?
Well, yes, I played that kind of Max character, if you like, who's a Hungarian emigre with a lovely.
After.
No, yes, there's been some unkind reviews about that. In an otherwise enjoyable show, what is it about Mr. Duncan that all these really? I've had to kill a lot of people.
He has a great sense of humour.
There's a reviewer who's got to come to terms with her own feelings, I think.
And the lovely Dawn Steele plays the love interest of the younger woman, and indeed Ali does, and Cassie Rain plays my bedridden, I was going to say, the wheelchair-ridden, she's very sick, suffers from muscular dystrophy. So it's their relationships in that very tight household. He's a professor, an academic. And so a lot of people said, which is really nice, that it's like going and watching a Sunday matinee film. Because the whole thing, it's the period,
The feel of it.
the 50s, the smoking, the whole that later, post-war, obviously, but the 58
and the attention to detail, the set design and the lighting and everything.
And that's rather nice if they can get into that, and they have been. I mean, there's been, but it does depart from the usual plot-driven thing.
Yeah,
it's much more about relationships.
The kind of whodunit, as you say. It's and focusing in on the interplay of the human relationships.
Absolutely, very clever, very, very clever, and not what people will think. Oh, I didn't know that was good. It's more Rattigan and bits of Chekhov without sounding too.
You're making references that I'm going to make the right faces to pretend I understand now, Robert. I haven't read a lot of Chekhov, I'll be honest. But
let's get back to Donkey.
I was a fan of Drop the Dead Donkey. This is my intellectual level. And costumes as well. If we're talking about that whole period thing, I'm going to be a living, breathing stereotype and address this to the lady in our company.
Can't believe it.
There's some lovely things to wear.
Oh, thank you. Again, the attention to detail with the costume design's incredible. It's all vintage, all original, 1950s. It's the play set in 1958, and everything is done absolutely to the letter for the period, and it's lovely.
First night in Derby was last night, was it?
Yep.
How are you finding Derby, or is it really not really something you can answer in such a short space of time?
Great. I mean, this heart of the Peak District, you know. I played Buxton. I've never played in a theatre in Derby.
It's a great theatre, beautiful.
Yeah,
it's really great.
Great acoustic, and we've got some great houses this week as well, which is very nice. Which will probably be a good time for me to mention that you're here all week. Is it until Saturday?
That's right.
Derby
That's
Theatre.
right, yeah.
If you want to see Agatha Christie's Verdict with Robert and Ali, and also Martin Carroll and Matthew Lewis, as we mentioned, and Dawn Steele. The box office number, as always, for Derby Live is not at hand, but isn't it 255 800?
Or you can go to kenwright.com, isn't it?
Yeah,
derbylive.co.uk. Yeah. See, I remembered it. I'm stressing about finding it. I know it off by heart. 255 800. Thank you very much for coming. Lovely to meet you both.
Lovely to
And
meet
you.
you. Thank you very
Ali
much.
and Robert. Agatha Christie's Verdict is at Derby Theatre.